One more fight on our card tonight, a 4-round bout, welterweight bout between Jose Baret and Roberto Mendez. Coming into the ring now. Well, all the favorites in the three main events here this evening, co-main events, I guess I should say, they all won. Edwin Rosario won his fight by a knockout. Not a very impressive knockout, but as I said, certainly not his fault. Marlon Starling won his bout against Juan Hidalgo, 22 seconds in the 5th round, a knockout. And Hector Camacho, who everybody thought would knock out Marcial Santiago, won his bout on an 8-round decision. In one of the 4-round bout tonight, Alberto Mercado won a decision over Jose Figueroa. And now we have in the ring Jose Baret against Roberto Mendez. Sandy Reddock, our ring announcer, ready to introduce the fighters.
Out of the live segment, at which time, right after it's over, we will have a short intermission. Then we will go straight to the Houston Astrodome. This is a 4-round welterweight division bout. Introducing, ladies and gentlemen, in the corner to my right, he hails from Trenton, New Jersey. He's wearing green trunks with yellow stripes. He weighs 146 pounds. Let's welcome Roberto Sugar Mendez. His opponent, ladies and gentlemen, in the corner to my left, he hails from New York City. He's wearing white trunks with black stripes. He weighs 147.5 pounds, the Pan American Games bronze medalist. Here's Jose Baret.
Jose Baret will be wearing the white trunks and Roberto Mendez in the green. Baret 147.5 pounds. Mendez 146. The referee is Larry Hazard. This will be a 4-round welterweight bout. Baret from New York City and Mendez from Trenton, New Jersey. Final bout of the evening. Here we go, round 1. Baret in the white and Mendez in the green. Baret, a Pan American Games bronze medal winner. Pan American Games being the international amateur classic held the year previous to the Olympics. Baret taking right over, a left and a right. The right did it. He caught him with a left first and the right did it, and I doubt very much if Mendez will make it. That's it. Larry Hazard, the referee, says no more. That's the end of it. Mendez is lying on the canvas. The doctor is in the ring with him. Dr. Shaw now has joined him. And they are looking at Mendez very, very carefully. We'll take another look at the knockout. It started with the left hand, ended with the right hand. That's Baret in the white. There's the left hand. Right hand followed, and Mendez is still on the ring floor, and they have brought a stretcher into the ring. I believe they're going to, for safety measures, they are going to take him out of the ring on the stretcher. His eyes are open. He's looking at the stretcher. He knows what's going on. He has already talked to the doctors from that position. But the doctors are being very cautious, and rightfully so. He is coming out of the ring. Dr. Campbell is in there now, the chief medical examiner, New York State Athletic Commission. Mendez is being carried out of the ring on a stretcher. There's Mendez. They're tailing him very carefully. The Emergency medical service attendants. We take another look at the knockout again. That's Baret in the white trunks.
Ladies and gentlemen,
There's the left hand, and he caught him with the right as he was going away. The left hand is the one that really had all the power in it. He caught him with the right going away. And we'll return to Madison Square Garden in just a moment. I think you'll agree with me that it really was. All the favorites won tonight. Edwin Rosario won his fight over Refugio Rojas. Marlon Starling from Hartford, Connecticut, he won his bout against Juan Hidalgo. And Hector Camacho opened up the evening with a win over Marcial Santiago. So, as I said, keep your eye on Edwin Rosario and remember the name Marlon Starling. You're going to hear a lot about both of these two young men about a year from now. I'm sure that you're going to see them fighting for a title, at least right up on top of that. And I certainly hope that Roberto Mendez in that last bout against Baret is okay. We'll check on him in the dressing room in just a little while. He was carried out of the ring on a stretcher. He appeared to be okay, leaving the ring at least, talking to the doctors. His eyes were open, so he was conscious. So that's a very good sign. So that just about wraps up our action here at Madison Square Garden tonight. That wraps up professional boxing at the Garden. The announcers on the preceding telecast were selected by Madison Square Garden Productions Incorporated. This has been a presentation of Madison Square Garden Productions Incorporated over the Madison Square Garden Cable Network through the facilities of Hughes Television Network. This program has been brought to you by Madison Square Garden Cable Network locally and USA Network nationally. John Condon, good night.
This USA event is brought to you in part by Lowenbrand. When you want the taste of a truly great beer, there's really only one. Tonight, let it be Lowenbrand. And by Mobile One, the oil that saves you gas and more.
part of Jose Baret.
Jose Baret from New York City.
His opponent, ladies and gentlemen, in the corner to my right, from Hartford, Connecticut, wearing white trunks, trimmed in purple, weighing 154 pounds, here is Don Miller.
Don Miller, he's from Hartford, Connecticut, 154 pounds. Jose Baret, 2 wins. He has not lost any. Both wins were by knockouts. One in 30 seconds, another one in 39 seconds. They call him Jose 32nd Baret. Keep your eye on him and remember the name. Remember the names of Kenny Stiles also. You'll see him in a little while. And Tony Salvatore. They're all on tonight's card. A lot of good, fine, upcoming fighters whose names are going to be around for a long time, I think. Here we go. Round 1. That's Baret in the white with the red trim. And Miller, Don Miller, white with the maroon. The taller fighter of the two is Miller. Miller's last appearance here was on our last show, and he lost the decision to Jimmy McGovern. Baret could do it with either hand. From what I've seen out of him, the left hand is, I think, a little bit more powerful than the right, but he can't do it with either hand. Miller has all the advantages. He's got the reach, he's got the height. I doubt if he has the punching power. That's the advantage that Baret has. Believe me, that's a big one. Harold Weston, the matchmaker here at Madison Square Garden, tells me it becomes increasingly tough to get fights for Baret. When you mention his name, the other fighters don't want to fight him. And he's only had 2 fights. How do you like that? So far, this is the longest he has gone as a professional. And I hope he forgets that routine. Last time in here, Don Miller fought Jimmy McGovern. He stuck his tongue out at him in the middle of one of the rounds. Baret just having a good time, isn't he? He's got Miller on the defense all the way. Miller knows what's in front of him. He's fighting a smart fight. He's fighting the kind of fight he has to fight. He wishes that ring was as big as a football field. And Baret's doing a little hot dogging. It's been Baret all the way, chasing Miller all over the ring. Right hand by Baret, soft right hand, just caught a piece of Miller. Another right hand, two right hands. And Miller's in trouble. He's in a lot of trouble. His legs are practically gone. And Baret is now catching him with everything, lefts and rights. Miller is in bad trouble. Coming up to the end of the round, now a word from your local system. Well, Don Miller will go down in history, at least for tonight, in that he has gone longer with Jose Baret than any other fighter. It's the end of the first round. It's a 4-round bout, and Jose Baret spent a lot of time having a good time up there before he really got down to business in about the last minute or 45 seconds of the first round. He really landed punches on Don Miller. That's Baret we're looking at now with his manager outside the ring with the glasses, Howard Albert, former manager of Emil Griffith, who was the world welterweight title holder 3 times and the world middleweight title holder twice. Jose Baret, white with the red trim. Don Miller, white with the dark trim. Miller, the taller of the two. Miller in bad trouble in that first round. Miller's an inexperienced fighter. He's only had 1 fight, he lost it. This is his 2nd fight. Of course, Baret has only had 2 fights himself, but he's got a lot more natural ability than Miller. He's a well-trained fighter. Miller's legs are still not that good. They were real rubbery at the end of that first round. They're still shaky. Miller shifts to a left-handed stance. Now he's back. I'll tell you, Miller knows how to dodge punches. He knows how to get out of trouble. I don't know how long it's going to last, but he's gotten out of quite a bit of trouble so far with Jose Baret. He slipped in the corner. There's water in the corner. That's the 2nd time that's happened. Right hand. Just glanced off the chin of Miller. Just got a little bit of him. Most of the punch landed on the chest. Baret has got to learn to develop a jab. He's got the punching power. He's got to learn to develop that jab and set up his opponent with it. He's got to learn that. That's a piece of equipment that he needs. This will come, I hope. He's got the right trainer in Howard Albert for it, I'm sure. The next few fights you'll see that that left jab is going to start coming. Baret is just chasing Miller around the ring. He should move inside, too. He's stronger than Miller. We'll return to Madison Square Garden. Spell for him in just a moment. Round 3 of a 4-round welterweight bout. Jose Baret in the white with the red, and Don Miller white with the dark. I don't know why they're calling it a welterweight bout. Baret is 153 pounds, and Miller's 154. It's a junior middleweight bout. That's what it really is. Louis Rivera having a little conference. You're roughing it up, fellas. Box. That's what you're in there for. Box. You're not mugging each other. You're supposed to be boxing each other. Caught him with a left hand, and Miller's covered up. Miller just floundering around the ring. And Baret chasing him, and the referee is calling it all off. It's all over. Not a very impressive win for Jose Baret. The bout was stopped. Referee decided that Miller could only get hurt. I have to agree with the referee. He was fighting a losing fight. Miller was very disappointed, naturally. But I would have to agree with Louis Rivera. He was fighting an uphill fight. He was on the verge of being hurt pretty badly. And Jose Baret is the winner. And I know that he's not very happy with the win. He would have preferred to win by a knockout, but that's not the way it worked out this time. At least Miller, as I said, has the record for going the longest distance with Baret so far in his young career. So Don Miller now has had 2 fights, and he's lost both of them. Baret has had 3 fights, and he's won all of them by knockout. This happened to be a technical knockout. Doctor's looking inside the mouth of Don Miller. I don't know why. There's no cuts or no evidence of any. As Dr. John Wilk. Miller still very, very disappointed in this corner.
The winner in 1 minute, 6 seconds of the 3rd round is Baret.
Baret the winner on a TKO, if you want to call it that. 1 minute and 6 seconds of the 3rd round. Now a word from your local system. Well, those of you who are within distance of Madison Square Garden, we have a couple of very exciting events coming up to the Garden on August. Now, the next bout should be Jose Baret against Joe Robinson, and that's what it will be. I see Joe Robinson walking in over on the other side of the ring with his entourage of handlers, and over on my right, Jose Baret is coming in. Baret undefeated in 3 professional fights. This program is authorized by Madison Square Garden Productions Incorporated solely for the entertainment of our audience, and any publication, rebroadcast, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this event, including the imposition of a charge for viewing the program, without the express written consent of Madison Square Garden Productions Incorporated, is prohibited. And Jose Baret made an auspicious debut into the ring, and he brought a big cheer from the fans here at the Felt Forum. One of our other featured bouts tonight will be Johnny the Heat Verderosa of Staten Island, undefeated in 19 fights with 14 knockouts, against Roman Contreras, 13 wins, 8 losses, and 1 draw with 6 knockouts. He's from Mexico City in Mexico. And we're just about ready now for our next bout, our ring announcer, Marvin Goldberg.
This bout, 6th round. In the blue corner, from White Plains, New York, wearing red and white trunks, weighing 148.5, Joe Robinson.
He'll be wearing the red trunks.
Corner, wearing white trunks, weighing 147, from New York City, Jose Baret.
Jose Baret. undefeated fighter.
Is Harold Vallon.
Harold Vallon, the referee, veteran referee. Incidentally, we have a very young old-timer as one of our judges tonight, Artie Ardala here. He's refereed, rather judged many fights, world championship fights in Madison Square Garden and in other places around the country and around the world. And he's working tonight. I haven't seen him for quite some time. It's really a pleasure to see him. The other judge is the lady judge, Eva Sheen. Our referee is Harold Vallon, and we're almost ready to go. Joe Robinson with red trunks and Jose Baret in the white. Round one of a 6-round welterweight bout. Baret at 147, right on the nose, and Robinson 148.5. Baret is a puncher. Fighter who's managed by Howard Albert, who is a former manager of Emil Griffith, who won 5 world titles. He's the manager of Juan Laporte, who's going to fight for the junior featherweight title, I guess around the 1st of next year. He's supposed to fight in October, but he came up with a small fracture in his left hand, and he has to wait until that heals before he can train. Baret taking the lead. Baret in the white trunks, Robinson in the red. Robinson fighting a defensive fight. Baret is just kind of filling him out. He's painting him, see how he'll react, and then he'll design a plan, I guess, for himself. Not much of a planner. He's more of a puncher than he is a scientific boxer. Baret in the white trunks. Hits well with both hands. Got a good stiff jab. He's got the repertoire. Young, he's only a 3-fight professional, won all 3. 3 fights, 3 knockouts. Hook to the head, good right hand to the body. Right hand to the body was with an open glove, however. We have a heavyweight bout on our card tonight. 6-round heavyweight bout between Eddie Gregg and Amos Haynes. Coming up right after this. Robinson throws good punches. That hook of his is good. If he lands it, he could do some damage with it. Robinson in the red trunks. He's been taking his time. He's waiting for Baret to get careless. We'll return to Madison Square Garden's Felt Forum in just a moment. We're in round 2. Jose Baret in the white trunks, Joe Robinson in the red. I have a guest sitting alongside of us tonight, Don Elbaum. He's the matchmaker and promoter of boxing bouts, or will be when the Tropicana Hotel in Atlantic City opens. Don is a very famous matchmaker and promoter of fights from the Midwestern section of our country. Been all over the country, all over the world making fights. Now he's with the Tropicana Hotel in Atlantic City. And they are going to start a series of fights down there in November, starting in November. Bret's doing a workmanlike job on Robinson. He's just taking his time. He's not going crazy as most young fighters who can punch usually do. He's not sailing in there. He's just taking his time. He's trying to wear Robinson down as much as he can. Robinson throws nice punches. He doesn't throw them often, but he throws them straight, and they're good punches. He hasn't been able to land with too many. He's been short of the mark, but I like the way he throws his arms. Good right hand. A good right hand, and I don't care how much they count. He's not going to get up.
5.
There's no way he
6,
can count. He's never going to make it. Dropped a right hand right on the chin.
10.
He is not going to make it. And Dr. Frank Polk is in the ring, looking at Joe Robinson. It was a beautiful right hand, and it was right on the mark, and it came in like a streak of lightning. So Jose Baret wins his 4th fight, and all 4 by knockouts. We're going to take another look at that right hand. Now watch the right hand set by, that's not it. We missed with that one, but the right hand that he landed was a perfect punch. There it is, right on the button, and there was no question that he was going to stay right there. He tried to get up, he struggled to get up, couldn't make it, and I'm glad he didn't get up. It didn't matter because if he had, or if he had got back on his feet, I'm sure the referee would have stopped it. This Robinson sitting on a stool, he seems to be okay. He's disappointed. He's just broken-hearted that he lost the fight. He got caught with that right hand. Joe Robinson. All indications showed that Joe Robinson's a pretty good fighter. I can really feel for him right now because he feels pretty badly. And Dr. Frank Guarino is in the ring with him, and he's talking to him. There's a little lump on the right-hand side of Robinson's head.
2 minutes and 14 seconds of the second round. Winner by a knockout, Jose Baret.
Jose Baret by a knockout in 2 minutes and 14 seconds of the second round. We'll return to Madison Square Garden's Folk Forum in just a moment. Joe Robinson left the ring a little shaky. He had a lump on the left side of his head, right alongside of his eyebrow. That did not come from the knockout punch, because the knockout punch was a right on the point of the chin, right on the jaw. And there was no question, as I said, that once he went down, he would not get up. It was a perfect punch. And you can pretty much tell the way a fighter goes down whether or not he's going to make it up again or not. And as I said, I'm glad that he did not make it up. And once again, our main event tonight is Carmelo Negron. If you've never seen Carmelo Negron, he's a fighter that... So next up will be Jose Baret against Donald Johnson, and if Baret lives up to his billing, fight should end in a knockout. Groups of 20. Waiting for Jose Baret to come into the ring. Here he is. Donald Johnson is already in. Johnson has a record of 7 wins and 6 losses. And he's in there against Jose Baret, who is undefeated in 4 fights with 4 knockouts. And some of the people around the gyms and people whose opinion you respect say that this Jose Baret really has the makings. We'll find out. Sandy Red-Eye.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is an 8-round welterweight bout. Introducing in the corner to my right. He hails from Brooklyn, New York. He's wearing red trunks with white stripes. He weighs 148 1/2 pounds. Let's welcome Donald Shockham Johnson.
Shockham Johnson.
His opponent, ladies and gentlemen, in the corner to my left.
Donald.
He hails from Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic. He's wearing white trunks with black stripes. He weighs 148 1/2 pounds. The threat of Cibao. Here's Jose Baret.
Jose Baret from
Now
the
refereeing
Dominican Republic,
Luis
lives in New York now.
Rivera.
And the referee in there now for this bout is Louis Rivera. Donald Johnson, 7 wins, 6 losses. Jose Baret, 4 wins, no losses, 4 knockouts. It's scheduled for 8 rounds. They're welterweights. Baret weighs 148 1/2, and so does Donald Johnson. Don't bet on it going 8 rounds. If Baret is the Baret that we have seen in his first 4 fights. Here we go, round 1, and Baret looked in his corner like he forgot something. I hope he has his mouthpiece in. Jose Baret in the white, Donald Johnson in the red. Baret usually tries to make it end fast. This, incidentally, is his first 8-round bout. Johnson does a pretty good job of tying him up. We better learn that. Little conference with referee Lou Rivera. Cut out the holding and let's fight. Baret with only 4 fights, wild swings. He thinks he can knock out a horse. Maybe he can, but he's got to learn a little bit about boxing. He's just a wild swinger. He's got so much power he can knock out anybody. But he's got to learn how to box. As his career goes on, it's going to become very, very valuable. He'll face a man someday as powerful as he is and as good as he is, and he's going to need to know some of the tricks of boxing. Hang out with Escalera. No jab, nothing at all. Baret doesn't do anything but try for a knockout. Baret in the white. Johnson should do is just jab and move around the ring. Don't stand still. The worst thing you can do is stand still. Jab and move. Move side to side. Try to confuse Baret as much as he can. But that jab is important. Good left hand. Solid left hand by Baret. He sent the message to Donald Johnson. Punch on the hip. Baret is also very fast, by the way, as you can see. His arms are fast and his body's fast. He moves out of trouble real well. Almost knocked himself down. Little punch and lost his balance. He wants to get it over with fast. As I said, he doesn't like to stay around too long. Less than 10 seconds remain in the round. That's it. Baret wanting to continue. Jose Baret. In his corner with his manager, Howard Albert. Howard Albert's got a lot of fighters on the card tonight. It's Howard on the right with the mustache. Very experienced handler. Baret does not speak any English, but he understands a little bit. He's able to understand what Howard Albert is telling him. It's Donald Johnson. And Donald, you got your work cut out for you tonight. A record of 7 wins, 6 losses. Not a very good record, and you're in there with a fighter who can really, really punch. Johnson has to do is use that jab. He looks like he has a good one. He has to use it. He's got the move. He's got to keep out of the range of Jose Baret if he is to survive. Getting ready for round 2. Scheduled for 8 rounds. As I said, don't bet on the 8 rounds. Here we go. Donald Johnson in the red, Jose Baret in the white. Referee Louis Rivera. Louis Rivera, former amateur boxing champion. I'd like to point out to you that a man with a jab, a good jab, and a man who has some boxing skills could cause Baret a lot of problems. All he has to do is throw that jab, move, frustrate his opponent, drop the right hand in if he gets the chance. But Donald Johnson is trying to fight Jose Baret punch for punch, and that is a big mistake. But a good boxer would give Baret a lot of trouble. Was the fighter like Jose Baret at one time when he first started out, but he learned how to box. He learned what a jab was. He learned what it was to fight inside. Became a truly great champion. But he learned his trade. Of course, we're talking about a fighter, Jose Baret, who's had only 4 fights. Maybe he will. Just at the tail end of that, he caught him, but just the tail end of the punch. If Baret wants to do that, what he ought to do is get inside and just throw punches. He's not going to do it from out there. He's got to get inside to do it. Move in. Keep moving him in and keep backing up your opponent. If you want to knock him out, and if that's all you want to do, then go ahead in and try to do it. He's trying to get inside. There's a little bit of power in Donald Johnson's right hand. He throws it well. Just hasn't been able to find the mark with it. Less than 10 seconds remain in the round. That's the end of round 2. We'll take a look at Donald Johnson now. He's in good physical shape. He apparently trained very well for this fight. He's able to move, and the fact that he's able to move has kept him out of trouble. The only mistake he's making is trying to trade punches with Jose Baret. That's a big mistake. Jose Baret now, we'll take a look at you. Here he is. Just a winger. He's just a knockout puncher all the way. I haven't seen him throw a jab worth a nickel since the fight started. Doesn't want to throw a jab. He just wants to hold him with the left hand and throw the right hand. Jose Baret from the Dominican Republic. He's got a lot of fans here in New York. As a matter of fact, they sent a group of broadcasters up here today from the Dominican Republic to bring this fight back on radio to the many fans that Jose Baret has in the Dominican Republic. Round 3. Jose Baret in the white and Donald Johnson in the red. Referee, Louis Rivera. Johnson leaves himself wide open in situations like that when Baret rushes at him. He just turns around and drops his hand. He leaves himself open. Baret's getting that left hand in there now fairly well. A lot of power in both hands. It's not exactly a jab. He's laying it on him like it were a pole. Left and a right by Baret. Another right by Baret. Baret wants to do it now if he can. And Enrique Sanchez and Armando Alcalde coming up next. Over the head. Wild swings. If they were straight punches, they would have done the job long ago. They're wild swings and not straight. Baret better be in pretty good shape, because if this fight goes for any length of time, he could be punching himself out here in the early rounds. He's exceptionally strong, however. Johnson might be getting a little tired. Not moving as well now as he did earlier. Dropped that right hand in on Baret. There wasn't enough power in it. Chanting Baret's name here. He's a big, big, very popular man in New York. Even though he's only had 4 fights, they see something in him. That's the end of the round. The end of round 3. Jose Baret in his corner. As I said, he's very strong. He's got a long way to go yet. He's got 5 rounds to go in this bout. And he's been putting out since the very first round. So he's got to be strong. He's got to be in excellent condition to keep up a pace like this if it goes the 8 rounds. Just a reminder, Hats Off the Country, hosted by Charlie Pride here at Madison Square Garden, Saturday, October the 24th, 2 o'clock. Donald Johnson. He's tired, all right. You can tell he is. Round 4 coming up. Johnson, the more tired he gets, the more vulnerable he becomes, because Baret can catch up to him if he becomes a target, a stationary target. Biggest crowd of the year here at the Polk Forum tonight for the show. There were 9 bouts on the card. 1 more to go after this. Enrique Sanchez and Armando Alcalde. Well, here's a flash. The Expos win the game 4-1, and they lead the series 2-1 over the Los Angeles Dodgers. Baseball in Montreal. Imagine a World Series in Montreal. Wow. In late October. That is if Montreal gets into the World Series. I'm not taking too much for granted here, I hope. What a mistake that is. Turn your head away from your opponent. You're not looking at him, and a guy that can punch like Baret, that's a big mistake. Johnson's able to get those hands up, so apparently he's not all that tired. He's able to get those hands up and block some of those punches. Part of the shoulder, part of the head. Baret has not landed a solid blow. He's landed a lot of blows, but not a solid blow yet to Donald Johnson. If he does, you'll know it. You'll know it right away. Pretty good uppercut and another good right hand by Donald Johnson. He's trying to measure it. Trying to measure Baret. Soft blow, the glove was open. He's not getting all of it. He's not landing those solid blows. Sticking his hand out like that, the way Donald Johnson was doing, just straight out measuring Baret, is a big mistake. You can't do anything with that hand if he throws a right hand, and you're open to his right hand. But what can you do with yours? You can't move it up. You don't have enough time to do it. You just have to keep it there. That's the end of the round. End of round 4. So Donald Johnson, with some of the moves that he's made in this last round and the round previous, shows some signs of being tired. There's a pretty good shot at some of our crowd here at the Club Forum. Johnson listening to his handlers. Donald Johnson from Brooklyn, New York. 7 wins, 6 losses. Not fighting like a fighter who has a record of 7-6. He's fighting a lot better than that. He probably fought fighters who were a lot better than he was in those 6 losses. Fighters that he might have been in over his head, as they say. Louis Rivera, former amateur boxing champion. Round 5. Jose Baret in the white and Donald Johnson in the red. Not too many people around ringside earlier tonight thought that this fight would go this long. They sold Donald Johnson short. He's a fairly good boxer. He's been able to ward off a lot of the blows of Jose Baret, and he's trying to make a fight out of it. He's not backtracking at all. He's a fighter. Deserves the title. Missed with it. Just missed with it. If it had landed, it would have landed on the opposite side of Johnson's face. It would have landed on his left side. A right hand from Baret would have landed on the left side of Johnson. Fighters like Baret ought to sit down and have a long talk with himself. Baret ought to say to himself, I got the punching power. I know I can punch. Now I have to develop all the other skills of boxing. How to throw a jab, how often to throw it, how to slip and punch, how to move. Got to page 1 and he found out he can punch, and he doesn't want to go to page 2. Good. body blow by Johnson. Less than 10 seconds remain in the round. Round 5. That's the end of the round. Round 5. Jose Baret. Once again, November the 5th, our next show. It's a Thursday night, remember. Please remember that. It's a Thursday night. 5th of November, the NABF title, junior lightweight title. Blaine Dixon, the champion, defends his title against Hector Camacho here in Madison Square Garden's held form in a 12-round bout, and you'll see it on your cable. And in one of the other bouts, Edwin Baret meets Pete Padilla in a 10-round lightweight bout, and in the third 10-rounder, or the second 10-rounder besides the 12, is a bantamweight bout between Julio Soto Solano against Freddie Jackson. Freddie Jackson is from Houston, Texas, with a record of 16 wins, only 2 losses, and he's got 14 knockouts. Won 16, 14 of them by knockouts. Here we go with round 6. Jose Baret in the white and Donald Johnson in the red. An 8-round bout, welterweights. Baret at 148.5. Johnson also 148.5. Bernie Herman, the great Polish soccer player, has just joined us here at ringside. Baret just looking to throw that one punch. Right to the left, right to the body, left to the head. Baret. Baret's complaining about something budding, I think. There he goes with that paw sticking out again, Donald Johnson. Left to the body, left to the head by Baret. Round is almost over, less than 10 seconds. That's it. That's the end of the round. End of round 6. As we watch Baret go to his corner. There he is. That's Bernie Herman, the Polish soccer player, smoking cigarettes. I can't believe it. An athlete like that smoking cigarettes. Also a great rugby player, besides a soccer player. And that young lady is Miss Sassoon. She's the young lady that brings our ring cards around. Tell us what round it is. Not too many people are looking at the ring cards. There she is. Would you believe she's just 15 years old? Better believe it, she is. That's Gil Clancy with the gray hair. Former matchmaker at Madison Square Garden, now an announcer for CBS. You hear him doing many fights on television. Gilbert Clancy. Round 7. Baret still has a lot of amateur in him. A lot of amateur moves. What he's trying to do now is finish off Johnson. And he's rather clumsy about it. His pride is at stake right now. He's won all his fights by knockouts. He wants to win this one the same way. Fighting his first 8-round fight. And this is what I meant before. If you're in condition, a 6-round fight or an 8-round fight or a 10-round fight makes no difference. Baret's first time out, this is the furthest he's ever gone. He's in the 7th round now. He's never gone beyond 6. Never gone as many as 6. He's won all his fights by knockouts. And he's just as good a shape now as he was in the beginning of the fight. So condition is the whole story. Right there. Johnson standing still, ready for a punch, but Baret didn't take advantage of it. Still winging away, looking for the home run. You know, if Johnson could drop that right hand on Baret, he could do some damage with it. He's still strong, Johnson. He's a little tired, but he's still very strong. He throws a good punch with that right hand. Just hasn't been able to find it. He got a kick out of that one himself. He missed one. He looked at his corner and winked. That's the end of the round. 1 to go. 8th round coming up. And Johnson is there. Nobody thought he'd last this long in the fight. At least all the experts in the gyms didn't think so. Here he is in the 8th and final round. He's still there. I'll tell you something. He has some boxing qualities that Baret wishes he had, I'm sure. He handles himself well. He's a good boxer. He doesn't punch like Baret does, of course, but he knows a few tricks of his own. He's learned the trade. He's got good handlers. Slips punches very well. He's able to block punches very well. And most of the punches, all of the punches that Baret has thrown have been blocked. If not totally, partially by Donald Johnson. None of those have landed flush. If they had, I'm sure that Johnson would be out of there. The 8th and final round. Here we go. Donald Johnson in red, Jose Baret in white. Johnson still wants to make a fight out of it. He's a good warrior, Johnson. He's a fine fighter. Win or lose, he's a good fighter. He wants to fight. He came to fight. He has no fear in him with Baret. Baret's power doesn't mean anything to him. He's completely unconcerned about it, and so far he's been able to do good with it. Do good by stopping it, by blocking the punches. Keeping Baret from landing a single solid blow in the fight. He's landed punches now. I hope you understand what I mean. He's landed a lot of punches, Baret has, but he has not landed that crusher, that solid shot. Well, it looks like Baret's knockout string is going to be broken tonight. Have to settle for a decision if it goes his way. Unless he can pull it out between now and the end of the round. This is the 8th and final round. I'd like to see Johnson go all the way with him. Deserves it. Referee held 10 seconds at the fighters. That's an unusual thing. Really none of his business. That's it, the end of the 8th round. I say that because the referee is not supposed to tell the fighters how much time is left in the round. As a matter of fact, he's not supposed to know how much time is left in the round. Every once in a while, you might hear over our microphones a little knocking on the side of the ring by the timekeeper. He's signaling that there's only 10 seconds left in the round. I can never understand why they do that. It's something that happened many, many years ago. Somebody started it, and they've continued it down through the years. It's unnecessary, and I really think it's something that the state athletic commissions around the country, if they do it in other states, tell them to stop doing. Referee should never know how much time is left in the round, and he should never ever tell the fighters how much. Here we go with the decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner is Baret.
Jose Baret wins it, so he's undefeated in 5 fights now, 4 by knockout and 1 by decision. The last fight of the evening coming up, Enrique Sanchez from Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic against Armando Ugalde of Mexico City. Man, I was talking to you about that big puncher, Jose Baret. He'll be on the right of your screen in the red robe, and his opponent, Felix Nance. Jose Baret is from the Dominican Republic. He's undefeated in 7 fights, and he has 6 knockouts, and here is Sandy Reddock.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is an 8-round welterweight bout. Introducing in the corner to my right, he hails from Norwich, Connecticut. He's wearing blue trunks, trimmed in white. He weighs 144 pounds. Here's Felix Nance.
Felix Nance from Hartford, Connecticut.
His opponent, ladies and gentlemen, in the corner to my left. He hails from Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic. He's wearing red trunks, trimmed in white. He weighs 147.5 pounds. Let's welcome Jose the Threat Baret.
Jose the Threat Baret.
Now refereeing
That's some fancy
Arthur
nicknames
Mercanti.
tonight. Referee is Arthur Mercanti, new referee in the ring. Arthur Mercanti, who you have seen, I'm sure, many, many times on your TV screen, refereeing World Championship bouts and many other bouts, not only here in this country, but in many, many foreign countries. We're ready to go. This will be, incidentally, an 8-round welterweight bout. Jose Baret will be wearing the red trunks, Felix Nance the blue. Baret at 147.5, Felix Nance 144. Here we go, round one. Baret is not the most polished fighter in the world, but he sure can punch. 7 wins, 6 of them by knockouts, no defeats. All 7 wins in less than a year. Punch for punch, he could be the hardest hitting welterweight in boxing today. That's a big mouthful, but you decide for yourself. There's the right hand. He can do it with one punch, incidentally. He doesn't have to wear a man down. And he's all over Felix Nance. The right hand started. He sunk a left hook into the body. And he is completely taken over. And Nance, I'm sure, knows what he's got in front of him now. Baret just loves to fight. He's young, he's a little raw around the edges yet, but he sure can punch. 2 minutes to go in round one. Felix Nance from Hartford, Connecticut, the home of Marlon Starling, by the way. Seen on our screen many times. You're going to see him again real soon. If he's listening in, welcome, Marlon. Welcome to everybody in Hartford, Connecticut. What Baret has to learn is to take his time. He has learned it quite a bit, but he's a little anxious even now. Just take his time and he can do his job. He forgets about a jab, he forgets about boxing. He just wants Nance to make the wrong move and he's going to plant him. Jose Baret in red, Felix Nance in blue. Baret from the Dominican Republic, where many, many good fighters. Less than a minute to go in the round. Many, many good fighters come out of the Dominican Republic. A lot of Dominicans here in our audience tonight. They have come to see their hero, Jose Baret. Just got a piece of him with that right hand, just on the side of the head. We will return to Madison Square Garden's Vote Farm in just a moment. It's Jose Baret in the red trunks and Felix Nance in the blue. Referee Arthur Mercanti. Right hand, and he really staggered Nance with that. Nance is in trouble. He's covering up pretty well, but he's covering his body. His head is open. Right hand started it. Baret wants to end it in this round. Oh, there's the right hand again. He did not go completely down. He's taking a stand-up 8 count. There's no such thing in boxing as a stand-up 8 count, but referee McKenty called it a knockdown and he counted up to 8. And he's got his head in between the ropes, as you saw. Felix Nance being smothered with punches now by Jose Baret. Puts his hands up to show that he's okay, he's ready. Baret all the way now. No offense at all on the part of Felix Nance. He hasn't thrown a punch in that exchange. He's just defending himself, trying to survive. And that's it. Referee Arthur McCarthy said that's enough. And I think it was a good decision on his part because Nance was not offering any kind of an offense at all. All he could do was get hurt. And McCarthy decided, let's not have that. And Baret putting his robe on. We're going to take another look at that first knockdown. Baret in the red trunks. looking right at you. There's the right hand. He didn't quite go down. It was right in front of us. He didn't quite go down, but it was ruled a knockdown. And now we'll take another look at the next knockdown. This is the follow-up. Right hand didn't get all of Nance. Watch the left hand of Baret. He's got power in both hands. It's the left hand that does this one. There it is. And he goes down now, and his head gets caught in between the ropes. There's the end of the evening for Felix Nance of Hartford, Connecticut. You did your best, young man, and we're proud of you for having done it. You're in there against a real tough puncher. Felix Baret, now with a record of 8 wins with 7 knockouts. And there's a man I think you're going to see around for a little while, Jose Baret. As I said, all he has to do is polish himself up a little bit from a boxing standpoint, because if he meets another puncher, he's going to need that. There are few around who punch as hard as he does in the welterweight division right now. As I said, punch for punch, I personally think that he could be the hardest puncher in the welterweight division right now. We'll have the official time from Sandy Reddock, our announcer. He's asking the referee, Arthur McCanty, and the boxer to turn around so that you people can see him. There he is.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner by a TKO in 1 minute, 14 seconds of the second round is Jose Baret.
Jose Baret is the winner, and we return to Madison Square Garden's full form in just a moment. Well, we're really on a roll, aren't we? We got nothing but knockouts so far since we've gone on the air. Carl Williams won by a knockout, Pee Wee Rucker by a knockout, and now Jose Baret. And who knows, in our main event tonight it could happen, because there are 2 good punchers. Ray Seals is a good puncher, and so is Johnny Lo Cicero. Hector Camacho, Jose Baret were pulled out for one reason or another. Miranda is a Mexican, and this will be his first 10-round bout. Jose Baret, I believe, has had 1 or 2 10-round bouts, but none of them ever went 10 rounds.
That's the way he likes it happen.
Right. The only fighter that ever went all the way with him was Don Johnson. And Baret won that decision. Ray Mancini, good to have you with us. Good luck to you.
Thank you very much, John.
Train hard. You're a credit to your sport, your family, and yourself.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Big guys. Eddie Gregg, undefeated in 11 bouts, 6 feet 4 inches tall, and Dave Starkey with a record of 9-3 and 6 feet 6 inches tall. Very pensive mood, our young fan here, both of them. Here at the Felt Forum, they're waiting for Baret to learn how to speak the English language, and progressing very nicely. Very anxious to learn the English language. From the Dominican Republic, from where a lot of good fighters come from, is Jose Baret, and in the ring now we're looking at him in
Final bout of 10 rounds. In the blue corner, from Jonesboro, Arkansas, wearing red trunks, weighing 147.5, Gil Miranda. And in the red corner, from Santo Domingo, wearing red and white trunks, weighing 148, Jose the Threat Baret. 10 rounds.
They call him Jose the Threat Baret. The bout is supposed to go 10 rounds. Baret has only gone the distance once, and that was not in a 10-round bout. It was a 4-round bout against Don Johnson in the early part of his career. Baret has had 4 fights so far this year, won them all by knockouts, 3 of them in the second round and 1 in the first round. He could be the hardest hitting welterweight in the business today. Big problem with Jose Baret is getting opponents. So a lot of people do not want to fight Jose Baret. He can knock you out with either hand. Gilberto Miranda, born in Austin, Texas. He lives in Jonesboro, Arkansas now. Here we go with round 1. Baret in the red trunks with the white piping, and Miranda all red. Again, we have a violation according to the state rules here. Both fighters with the same colored trunks. In spite of the fact that Baret has a white piping around his trunks, doesn't make any difference with the State Athletic Commission. The colors of the trunks themselves should be different. Our referee for this bout, Sid Rubenstein. We're in the first round of a 10-round bout. Gil Miranda, all red, a right hand. A right hand, and did you see how fast that punch was? Miranda never knew what hit him. That came like lightning. Keep your eye on Baret, either hand. Baret, red trunks with the white piping. Now you know why it's tough to get opponents for Jose Baret. Miranda is going to be very, very careful now. Baret wants to finish it as fast as he can, so he's a little wild. A little more experience, you'll see that he'll take his time. But right now, he wants to end it just as fast as he can. He's only had 10 fights, not many fights for a professional fighter, so he's got a few things to learn yet. One thing he does not have to learn is how to punch. Are you born with a knockout punch, or do you develop it? In case of left hand, and that was a left jab. That was a left jab that put Miranda down. It was not a hook, it was a jab that put him down. So you have a good idea now how hard Baret can punch. Baret is tight. And Miranda is cautious. There's been 2 knockdowns in the round according to the New York State rules. Remember, I mentioned it to you earlier. 3 knockdowns in 1 round and the fight is over, so Miranda's been down twice. Ten seconds to go in the round. That's the end of the round. And we're going to go over and visit Baret in his corner. As I mentioned to you, he could do it with either hand, and you saw him knock Miranda down with a jab. We're going to take a look now at the first knockdown. This is Baret in his corner with Bernard Forbes and Howard Albert, his manager. Here we go. We're going to take a look at it now. This is the first knockdown. The left glanced off the left shoulder, but the right hand followed through, and that's the one that knocked Miranda down. And it came, we saw it in slow motion, of course, but it came like lightning. Miranda never saw the punch. That's Howard Albert on the left, the manager of Jose Baret, and he is very, very high on his fighter's chances to become a world champion, and well, he should be. Miranda up off a stool, ready for round 2. Baret very tight in that first round. He scored well with both hands, of course, but he's tight. He's not loose, and he's a little over anxious. Here we go, round 2. Baret in the red trunks with the white piping. Miranda all red. Sid Rubenstein, the referee. Baret, as he goes along, will learn to relax a little more. Miranda down twice in the first round. Caught him going away. Baret was moving back. He caught him with a right hand. There was a delayed reaction on the part of Miranda. He caught him with a right hand as he was moving away. That's it. He's calling the fight off. Sid Rubenstein is calling the fight off. And Miranda does not want him to do that, but it's the wise thing to do. We'll take another look at it in just a moment as Baret holds his hands up to his friends here in the audience at the Felt Forum. Here we go with the knockdown. Now watch Baret. Baret on the right. The right hand came as he was moving back. Now, it's hard to get power in a punch when you're moving back, so you can imagine what kind of power this man has. That left hand just grazed the sides of the head of Miranda. The right hand is the one that put him down. There's Miranda in his corner. He's disappointed. He did not want the fight to be stopped. Sid Rubenstein, I think, did the wise thing. He stopped the fight because Miranda was just open to further punishment. He was shaky. He was a little out of it when he did get up. But the right hand, and I'm amazed to see a fighter throw a right hand like that, moving back while he's throwing it, still enough power in it to knock the man down. So Baret now has a record of 11 wins, no losses, and he's got 10 knockouts. And Howard Albert's visions of Baret becoming a champion are bigger than ever. Okay.
The time, 49 seconds of the second round. The winner by TKO, Jose the Threat Baret.
Jose the Threat Baret, and he certainly is a threat to whoever's on top now in his division. He is a threat. He is coming on very fast.
Where if there's any doubt about